What does one do when trust, devotion, and years of family sacrifice together suddenly implode in the midst of a courtroom? Try to imagine the devastation of facing someone whom you once referred to as your partner, your friend, to accuse him of taking money from you. This isn't something out of fiction for the Brown clan. It's the stunning reality that has now materialized in an open courtroom. Today, we decode the tantalizing drama surrounding Janelle sues Kody over missing money. The courtroom is charged with tension. There is an oppressive silence as Janelle Brown stands up, her face frozen between determination and betrayal. For years, she was regarded as the rock, the wife who handled money, balanced the books, and kept the large Brown household running. But today, she's not present as a peacekeeper. She's here as a plaintiff, taking on the man she once shared her life with, Kody Brown. The judge's gavel strikes. Court is now in session. We, the viewers, watching this play out, can almost sense the heat emanating from the lights overhead, the pungent aroma of waxed wood, the subdued shuffling of pages in attorneys' hands. Kody slumps rigidly at the defense table, jaw locked, his trademark flowing locks tied back, but his eyes flicking, anxious, evasive. Next to him is Robyn, white-knuckled, clasping a folder of papers, her knuckles white from holding too hard. And then there is Janelle. She's not shaking. She's not flinching from his eyes. Rather, she looks straight ahead, her voice firm as she starts, "I want what's mine. I want the money that was stolen from me, from my kids, and from the future that I gave up in order to build." What might compel Janelle, a woman famous for patience and fidelity, to sue the father of her children? Years earlier, during the times when the Brown family was intact, or at least feigning it, their money was in together in what they referred to as the family fund. Each wife contributed. Each wife trusted. The objective was always the same: build houses on Coyote Pass, leave a legacy for their children that would stand the test of time, and never leave anyone behind. But somehow along the way, trust broke down. Large amounts of money she felt was set aside to help them build their dream houses, just disappeared. Janelle says. When she questioned it, she says she was given excuses. When she pushed further, she says the truth spilled out. Kody had transferred monies to help pay for Robyn's enormous house and lifestyle expenses. This court case isn't about money. It's about shattered trust, betrayal, and the type of wounds that wound deeper than divorce documents. And here's the jaw-dropping part. Janelle alleges the missing funds weren't merely thousands. It was more than $1 million. If you thought Christine departing Kody was the ultimate twist in Sister Wives history, guess again. Because what's going on here isn't about love lost. It's about a war that could reveal every hidden financial transaction Kody ever cut. As Janelle testifies, her attorney patiently walks her through the timeline. She testifies of late-night budget sessions, of sitting with Christine and Meri, piecing together where all that money went. She describes how she pleaded with Kody to settle the Coyote Pass land before investing in Robyn's home, and was ignored. Her voice breaks a little when she tells of her children questioning whether they would ever own the house they had been promised. "I said yes," she acknowledges, tears welling in her eyes. "I did believe it. I thought we were creating something together. But now I realize we were only creating for one individual." Throughout the courtroom, Kody shakes his head, muttering indignantly to his lawyer. He denies that the money was not distributed fairly, asserts that Janelle knew all along where the cash was headed. But the expression on Janelle's face tells it all. This is not merely a matter of ledgers, it's a matter of betrayal, and no line item can quantify that. Sometimes the deepest wounds don't come at the hands of strangers, they come from the ones you trusted the most. The tension increases as the judge permits a fresh piece of evidence, a pile of bank statements. Janelle's attorney leafs through the pages, underlining transfer after transfer, funds channeled into accounts connected with Robyn's property. Robyn buries her face in her hands, sobbing as if suddenly grasping the enormity of what's being exposed. Meri, who sits silently in the back row, drops her head. Christine, too, is there, her arms crossed tightly, her jaw clenched in a scowl. Even though their own relationships with Kody have broken, seeing Janelle struggle this fight awakens their own memories of a promise broken. And just when you think this court case can't possibly get more incendiary, wait until you see the testimony that risks setting every wife against Kody for good. As the day battles on, Janelle will not give up. She explains to the court that she had trusted Kody with not just her finances, but with her future. She reiterates that she had lived in a plural marriage for several decades, raising children, giving up autonomy, all because she was believing in the fantasy of one family. But now, that fantasy is in tatters. Anything that I provided was for our family, Janelle asserts, her tone resolute once more. Not for him, not for a single wife, for all of us. And that money, it wasn't his to steal. The air in the room grows heavier with each sentence. Even the judge sits forward, clearly attentive, picking up on the seriousness of what is happening. Kody finally stands, his anger bursting through. This is a family issue, not one for the law. She understood how this worked. His voice roars, but the judge bangs down the gavel. Order. Janelle doesn't blink. She doesn't glance away. For the first time in years, she isn't caving to Kody Brown. And here's the scary question hanging in the air. If Janelle is able to make her case, what else could be revealed about the Browns' secret finances? The day comes to an end with a court adjournment, but as Janelle passes by Kody, she says nothing, simply gives him a stare that seems like a goodbye for keeps. Tomorrow we'll see witness testimony explosive enough to blow the case wide open. And the surprise isn't even big news. The witness isn't a stranger at all. He's a member of the family. Day 2 in court starts with murmurs filling the corridor, journalists grasping notebooks, cameras snapping as Kody and Janelle enter through the doors. Today is different, though heavier, more pointed. Why? Because everyone is aware that the next witness is not a stranger. It's one of the Brown wives in person, willing to testify under oath about what actually occurred regarding the family's missing money. The judge demands order, and as the room becomes silent, the question on all minds rings like thunder. Which wife will be testifying against Kody Brown? Underscore, 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 underscore. Christine stands. Blonde curls are around a face etched in stone, narrowed eyes determined. Steady strides carry her, but the tension in the set jaw indicates the load of what's to come. Sliding into the witness chair, she breathes deeply before coming eye to eye with Janelle. A wordless nod goes between them, an unspoken bond created from mutual betrayal. Mrs. Woolley, the judge calls her by her new post-marriage legal name. Please continue. Christine's tone is level at first, but emphatic. I saw this family put everything into that fund. I saw Janelle keep track of every dollar, every penny. And I also saw Kody transfer money that didn't belong to him, to fund Robyn's house, her lifestyle, while making promises to the rest of us that he never had any intention of fulfilling. Gasps echo through the courtroom. Robyn presses her hands against her face. Kody hunches forward, muttering furiously at his attorney. Christine doesn't blink. What Christine just shared wasn't gossip. It was a flat-out accusation of financial favoritism, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. If you thought Janelle's words were biting, Christine's testimony is a knife to the heart of Kody's credibility. And the kicker is, she's only just getting started. Christine continues, her words ascending in volume. Years we lived in rentals waiting for the Coyote Pass dream. I watched my kids wonder why they didn't have stability, while Robyn's kids had a huge house, every luxury. Kody always said, be patient. But how are you supposed to be patient when our money was going into someone else's future? Tears well in her eyes, but her voice is cutting. It shattered us. It shattered me. And now it's shattering Janelle. The judge focuses carefully, looking briefly at the stack of financial reports already received in evidence. The jurors, normal people, who don't know anything about polygamy except what TLC presented them with, shift restlessly, catching the disparity Christine paints. Kody can't keep quiet anymore. That's a lie. He explodes, his face flushing red, standing up quickly. His lawyer pulls on his sleeve, trying to make him sit down, but it's too late. His outburst reverberates through the courtroom like thunder, commanding everyone to look at him with his angry red face. Sometimes the truth isn't conveyed in words, but in the anger. In cross-examination is permitted by the judge. Kody's attorney attempts to portray Christine as bitter, revengeful, divorce-motivated. Christine remains serene, her tone level. This is not about revenge, she says. This is about fairness, about honesty, about the truth. The words fall hard. Even Janelle, sitting in her own lawyer beside her, dabs at a tear. This is not just a lawsuit. It's the unwinding of decades of silence. And just when you thought Christine had landed the toughest punch, another surprise witness emerges, poised to rattle the courtroom to its foundation. The judge requests a recess. The room is abuzz with whispers. Who might this surprise witness be? Some speculate that it might be Meri. Others stage whisper that it could be one of the children. When the proceeding resumes, the door to the courtroom creaks open, and Logan Brown, Janelle's oldest son, walks in. The whole room falls silent. Logan, ever the level-headed, responsible oldest, sits down at the witness stand. He tugs at his tie, his complexion pale but firm. Janelle's hand shakes a little as she holds it over her mouth. This wasn't her plan. Logan volunteered. Tell us what you know. The lawyer encourages. Logan speaks softly at first, but loud enough to pierce the silence. When I was growing up, I noticed how hard my mom worked. She gave up everything for us. She gave every extra penny towards that fund, thinking it was for our future. But when I became older, I began to see things didn't make sense. We didn't have stability. We didn't have the home we were supposed to have. And then I witnessed the money going elsewhere. Kody's face hardens. Logan, he mutters under his breath, but the court microphone catches it. The judge shoots him a warning glare. Logan's voice trembles slightly, but he presses on. I'm not here to hurt my dad. I'm here because my mom deserves the truth. She deserves what was taken from her. The room is silent, heavy with the weight of a son testifying against his father. When a kid prefers truth to loyalty, it's no longer a family feud, it's a legacy in the dock. Kody's attorney attempts to brush off Logan's words as emotion, but the jury is plainly shaken. These are no longer figures on a page. These are the voices of wives and kids, all saying the same thing about betrayal. As the day ends, the judge asks the court to adjourn. But before the courtroom empties, Janelle's attorney pronounces, tomorrow, we will have evidence directly linking the missing money to personal accounts, and we will bring on one final witness who can attest to the transfers firsthand. The atmosphere becomes dense immediately. Rumors travel faster than fire. Who would this witness be? A bank employee? An accountant? Or is it someone even closer to Kody than people can imagine? Kody storms out of court, Robyn behind him with tears streaming down her face. Janelle remains seated, her face white but set. Christine puts a hand on her shoulder, speaking too softly for the cameras to hear. The tension is stifling, because tomorrow's witness might be the key to everything. The third day of the trial dawns gray, as if even nature is aware of what's to come. The courthouse itself is packed inside and out. Reporters furiously taking notes, cameras shuddering outside the doors, and hushed whispers echoing down the halls. Everyone wants to know one thing. Who is the last witness Janelle's team has in store to take down Kody Brown? The tension is suffocating as the bailiff declares the court in session. Janelle stands erect, although her hands are shaking gently in her lap. Kody reclines in his chair, arms folded, his face stuck between arrogance and fear. Robyn whispers something to him in the ear, eyes brimming with tears, and then the name is read. Meri Brown, please take the stand. The courtroom gasps. Meri has been the quiet one for years, the wife left behind, the one who suffered heartbreak and humiliation when she divorced Kody. But today she struts to the stand with her head held high, her heels clicking on the floor like a drumbeat of finality. She is sworn in by the judge, and all eyes focus on her. Meri's tone is smooth, but as sharp as glass. For years I was informed I had a place in this family, even after the legal divorce. But behind closed doors, I noticed where the money was being spent. I noticed what Kody did, and I remained silent. I'm not remaining silent anymore. Here Meri becomes a whistleblower from bystander. You suspected Christine's testimony was dynamite. Meri's testimony is about to blow everything you thought you knew about the Brown family's finances out of the water. Meri goes on, her tone firm but with controlled fury. I had access to some of the accounts when I was married. I could see the transfers. Thousands, tens of thousands, went without a word. When I questioned them, I was told to stay in my lane. When I pushed further, I was excluded altogether. But I retained the record. Gasps circulate through the room as Meri raises a folder. It contains photocopies of transactions, dates, amounts, and account number. Janelle's attorney promptly enters them into evidence. Kody's face pales. He slams a fist on the table, muttering harshly to his attorney. Robyn vigorously shakes her head, mouthing the words, "This isn't fair." Meri does not falter. I kept quiet because I believed in loyalty. I believed that keeping quiet was keeping the family safe. but it just let him take more. She fixes Kody with a stern look. You didn't just steal our money, Kody. You stole our trust, and you ruined it. The courtroom is still, filled with the gravity of her charge. When silence finally cracks, it's not from Meri, but from the jurors themselves, shifting, whispering, their faces etched with shock. Janelle's attorney leans. Meri, are you standing before this court and saying that you yourself saw financial transactions that were concealed from the other wives? Yes, she replies firmly, and I can document. The papers are handed over to the judge, and she reads them with scrupulous attention. The jurors lean forward, eyes scanning every line on the courtroom screen. The figures don't lie. Money that should have gone into the group account went straight into accounts to Robyn's property. Silence is deafening, and just when you imagine that evidence has Meri drops one last bombshell. A revelation that promises to totally annihilate Kody's defense. Meri clears her throat. There was one transfer I'll never forget. It was more than $100,000, and it was stolen just days after Kody told us we couldn't make the Coyote Pass property. He instructed us to tighten our belts, but he tightened his fist around the money. Janelle lowers her head, silent tears falling down her. Christine shakes her head in incredulity, swearing under her breath. I knew it. Kody leaps to his feet. This is a witch hunt. They're jealous, they're bitter. They're out to destroy me. His voice breaks, despair spilling through his anger. The judge bangs the gavel. Mr. Brown, sit down or I will hold you in contempt. The courtroom is bedlam, shouts reporters writing feverishly, the hum of shock resonating through the atmosphere. And then, as things are brought under control, Janelle's attorney speaks the words that fall like a sledgehammer. Your Honor, on the basis of this evidence, we will be seeking to subpoena bank officials to verify these transfers and attest to their source. The crowd gasps once. The noose around Kody's defense constricts. Other times justice arrives not in a roar, but in receipts meticulously preserved. The rest of the day looks like a tempest slowly devouring Kody. All efforts made by his to discredit Meri are pointless. She is cool, unflappable, repeating, the numbers don't lie. Even Robyn starts to break under the power of the testimony. She blots at her tears, muttering prayers under her breath, refusing eye contact with the other wives. As the session comes to an end, the judge makes a chilling announcement that sends shivers down the courtroom. This case is no longer about family. It seems we have probable misappropriation of funds, perhaps fraud. We will adjourn tomorrow and hear from financial experts. Kody's face goes white, his hands shaking as he shuffles his paper. He is not angry for the first time. He is cornered. As Janelle leaves the courtroom, Christine and Meri by her side, cameras flash and reporters shout questions. But inside, the real storm brews, because tomorrow won't just be about accusations and memories, it will be about hard evidence from the banks themselves. And if those records match Meri's claims, then Kody Brown isn't just losing his wives, he could be facing criminal charges. The fourth day of the trial doesn't begin with whispers. It begins with thunder. Reporters swarm the courthouse steps, cameras flashing as though history is about to be made. Inside, the atmosphere feels electric, heavy, and dangerous. Everyone knows what's coming today. The numbers speak. The judge enters, the jury is seated, and Kody Brown gazes down at the table, his previously proud stance broken. He doesn't have a clue if the next couple of hours will merely destroy his reputation or end his freedom. What does it look like when decades of deception finally run into the wall of reality? What does it look like when the very receipts you assumed were in the ground come up to impeach you? Today, Kody is going to see. The bailiff calls the witness, a 20-year veteran senior financial investigator. He's collected, meticulous, and heartbreakingly accurate. He sits down, adjusts his glasses, and starts. Our staff went through the accounts that belong to Mr. Kody Brown and his related businesses. We cross-referenced them with the so-called family account. What we found was a recurring stream of transfers over many years, money transferred from the family account into private accounts in Mr. Brown's name, and in Robyn Brown's name. Gasps are heard. Janelle's eyes shut, as if balancing. Christine grips her hand, as if holding her for the impact. The investigator goes on, presenting big digital charts that detail the money flow. Together, more than $1.05 million of it went out undocumented, unreported, and without signatures of any of the other wives who were owed that money. The figure lingers in the air like a death warrant. Kody's attorney objects at once, speculation, misunderstanding, but the judge rules him down. The documents will be admitted, and the courtroom shifts. You felt Meri's witness testimony was damning? This is worse. This is not memory. This is not resentment. This is paper. Cold facts, the kind you can't talk your way out of. The investigator continues. On several occasions, Mr. Brown asserted that the family was unable to make mortgage payments on homes tied to the family trust. But days later, he deposited large sums of money into his personal accounts. In one case, $150,000 came out in cash. The jury writes notes frantically. A juror shakes her head, clearly enraged. And then the bombshell? We tracked some of this money into investments in shell LLCs. Those LLCs seem to be connected to out-of-state properties that were not reported to the family trust. The courtroom erupts in chaos. Reporters dash to tweet, pens scratching paper. Janelle's attorney inches forward. Mr. Brown, are you saying Kody and Robyn kept entire properties purchased with family funds? The investigator nods. Yes. Robyn breaks down into tears, whispering, Kody, what did you do? Kody pounds his hand on the table, face flushing. This is a setup. You all despise me because I wanted control. You wanted me to fail. The judge bangs the gavel. Order in this courtroom. But the order has flown. The mask has slipped. The jury has witnessed it, and so has the world. And just when you think it can't get any worse for Kody, the investigator drops the detail that completely changes everything, making this a civil case no more. The investigator clears his throat. Based on these findings, we've referred several of these transactions for possible criminal consideration. Specifically, possible fraud and marital assets misappropriation. The state attorney's office has already been contacted. But she goes on. The words strike like a clap of thunder. Janelle gasps. Christine's hand shoots to her mouth. Even Meri, who has been holding herself so tightly, looks in shock. Fraud. Criminal review. Jail. Kody's attorney leaps to his feet, wild-eyed. Your Honor, this is outside the scope. The judge silences him. Counsel, sit down. This court will not turn a blind eye to evidence of criminal activity. If the state wishes to proceed, so be it. Kody sits immobilized, his hands trembling. His decades-long empire of domination disintegrates in the real time it takes for him to read the words. The wives he once gagged now sit and watch as the system itself appears to speak on their behalf. The day wears on, the tension increasing. Additional documents are read into evidence: wire transactions, cashier checks, secret accounts. The stack of evidence rises higher by the second, and along with it the gravity suffocating Kody's case. Robyn, his one-time faithful friend, appears broken. Mascara runs down her face as she covers her face with her hands. At one point she gasps out softly, I didn't know. I didn't know. But the harm is already done. Her name is on the accounts as well. The jurors glance at each other, their faces no longer neutral. Some are aghast, some are angry, and one is pitying, as if she's seeing a man dig his own grave. As the court proceedings come close to a conclusion, Janelle's attorney stands up. Your Honor, in light of the tremendous evidence that's been given today, we respectfully move that Mr. Brown's assets be frozen until the end of this trial. The judge rests back, considering, then motion granted. Kody's head jerks up. What? You can't steal my money. You can't shut me out of my own life. The gavel comes down again. Sit down, Mr. Brown. This court has had enough of your tantrums. Kody collapses back into his chair, his face ashen, his eyes feral. For the first time, he isn't screaming. He isn't grandstanding. He's afraid. As the jury files out, the wives are all standing together. Janelle, Christine, even Meri, side by side, now united in their strength. Across the room, Kody sits by himself, with crumpled paper strewn around him and silent. Tomorrow closing arguments will start. But the question that now lingers in the air is larger than money, larger than property, even larger than betrayal. Will Kody Brown leave this courthouse a free man, or will he leave in handcuffs? The sun rises over the courthouse, but it's more like the break of judgment. Record numbers of people stand outside, holding their phones, waiting for word. Inside, the air is thick with tension like never before. This is the final day. The day of closing arguments. The day the jury makes their decision. What happens when the master of control finally loses everything?